Important question. There's been a lot of drama between, I guess you can say, the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. I wouldn't say drama, but there is some speculation of whether he's going to ask for a trade or not. He went on the Pat McAfee show and he said there wouldn't be a reason why he wouldn't be a Packer next year. So, probably he put the speculation to rest. But what do you think? Do you think that Aaron Rodgers will be on the Packers next season? And also tell me a little bit about the game and why you think Matt LaFleur decided to kick a field goal instead of going for it down 8.
I do think Aaron Rodgers is going to be here next year just because of the simple fact of the amazing year he had this year. I think he showed everybody that he's still an elite quarterback, a top 3 quarterback in this league. And I think with Jordan Love, you have your quarterback that's going to eventually take over for Aaron Rodgers. So I don't think they're planning on Aaron Rodgers to groom him and put him in that position where he can succeed. I also think this team, last year they made it to the NFC Championship last year, but I think last year we looked at them as more of pretenders. We didn't really think, oh, this is a team that can go to the Super Bowl. I think with this year, though, we saw this team as a heavy hitter that can potentially make the Super Bowl. And I think if they bring everybody back next year, this is a team that can run it back. They have a top 2 corner in this league in Jair Alexander. They have a top 2 wide receiver in Devontae Adams. If they can just get a few more weapons out there on offense, I think they'll be good. Now, regarding the game, I think Matt LaFleur did it just because I feel like, this is just my opinion, I think he trusted his defense that game. I think he really felt like his defense could get a stop. Now, I'm not saying it's the right decision, but I'm just saying with his mindset going, I really think he felt like, okay, we kicked this field goal, and I truly believe that my defense can get a stop. We got 3 interceptions on the day. I think we can get a stop on this guy and then give Aaron Rodgers one more shot. It didn't happen the way it did, but I think that was just his mindset going forward.
I mean, for me, when we talk about the Packers' future and Aaron Rodgers, their president, Mark Murphy, said that we're not idiots. Aaron Rodgers will be back. And Aaron Rodgers will be on the Packers this upcoming season. To me, there's no doubt about that. Next season, like the next season after this one that's going to come up, I think he might be gone, or 2 seasons after this one.
You think retire or just gone?
I think gone, because when you look at it, it just makes sense. In 2021, which is this next season that's coming up, he has a $37 million cap hit. The dead cap for releasing or trading him would be $31 million. So they're only saving $6 million. It doesn't make sense. But then in 2022, they have a $39 million cap hit and a dead cap of $17 million. So they'll save $20 million. When he was talking about how he's uncertain about his future, he was more so talking about the free agents that the Packers have scheduled. You look at the free agents, they have Corey Linsley as a free agent, Jamal Williams, Robert Tonyan, Alan Lazard, Aaron Jones, and they have,
I think, is a free agent next year.
And they have negative $32 million in cap space. So I don't know how they're going to make it work, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to give a hefty contract to Aaron Jones. Jamal Williams is probably gone, which is why they drafted A.J. Dillon. Corey Linsley, who's one of the best centers in the NFL, probably gone. I think that Rick Wagner might be a free agent too, and he was awesome for them this season. And then Robert Tonyan. He had a breakout season, but that's his one breakout season. Are you going to give him that type of money? I don't think so. And then Alan Lazard, he might be back, but a lot of the players that you saw in the Packers this past season are not going to be back next season. I think next season the Packers will probably have a down year, and then the year after that, Aaron Rodgers will get traded, because I don't think Jordan Love right now is ready. I think he needs another year to develop, which the Packers are going to give him, and then they're going to give him the keys and let go of Rodgers. And then 2023, which is his last year on contract, he has a $28 million cap hit and a dead cap of $2 million. So they're going to move on from him either after the 2022 season or the 2023 season, but I don't think it's going to be now.
Yeah, and all of those names that you mentioned coming up in free agency, a lot of those weapons that they had this year are going to be gone, and we were talking before and throughout the season about how the lack of a solid number 2 was hurting the Packers. And, they were in discussions for Will Fuller to line up across from Devontae Adams. And now you look at it, Lazard, Jones, Williams, Tonyan, all those guys, who knows who they're going to bring back out of that core. And so the question mark that you already had about bringing in weapons to help him out now even becomes bigger, especially with the cap situation you're in. So, like you said, I feel like him having those quotes in the postgame were more about the team's future. I really don't see a world where Aaron Rodgers isn't a Packer next season, but I think it's going to get ugly moving forward. I do think he is with the Packers next year, but then from there, I'm very uncertain because this situation, like if you had asked me last year before the draft, I would have said Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Packer for life. But trading up to draft a quarterback in the first round when you're a Super Bowl contender and you have a top 2 quarterback in the NFL, not exactly a sign of good faith, especially when there are positions of need on the field for you. Like that to me signaled, okay, that relationship isn't perfect. And then obviously there was reports before this year about him and LaFleur not having the best relationship, and obviously they worked it out throughout the season, but I seriously question the relationship between him and the franchise, and I don't think he will end his career a Packer.
I think drafting a quarterback, basically the franchise did what Joel did. You know, they seamlessly saw the cap space. They saw what they were going to be in for the next couple of years, and they were like, this might be over in the next 1-2 seasons, so we're going to have to give our quarterback his last run because this might be over, and we need a quarterback that's going to take over inevitably for Aaron Rodgers. And I like you said, I did think Aaron Rodgers would probably be a Packer for life. Same way I thought Tom Brady would be a Patriot for life. And you see he's gone. So next year, definitely he'll be there. He'll rock out for this upcoming season. The year after, I don't know. But where do you think he would probably go, though?
I mean, I can't answer that question because there's going to be so many teams that we think are going to get a quarterback this season. We're not sure. I can't answer that question. But what I will say is this. Devontae Adams and Jaire Alexander are free agents next year. Whew. So for them to spend cap on these guys right now probably doesn't make sense. But I want to give the Packers a lot of credit because I think people are looking at it from a short-term perspective in terms of drafting a receiver to complement Rodgers to try to get a Super Bowl now. Like, I get it. But at the same time, I felt like last year Jordan Love was a guy you couldn't pass up. And a lot of teams passed up on him. I'm really high on Jordan Love. Like, I'm extremely high on Jordan Love. And if we recall, everybody hated the A.J. Dillon pick when he was picked in the second round. Now they're losing Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. They're definitely not bringing back Aaron Jones because he's going to command a pretty hefty contract. A.J. Dillon, in hindsight, it was the right pick because he has shown flashes for the Packers, and they need a cheap running back. Robert Tonyan, a free agent. In hindsight, it was a good thing the Packers drafted Josiah DeGuara because he can fill in those shoes possibly next season. And I think in hindsight, Jordan Love was the right pick too because it's so obviously you can't make a hot take like he's going to be this as great as Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is an all-time great. But they do need a quarterback on a rookie contract because if you're paying Jaire, who's shown to be a top 5 corner this season, you have to pay Devontae Adams. You don't really have room to pay Aaron Rodgers that much money. You know, if you want to build the best possible team around Jordan Love to try and win with him after Rodgers is gone, you can't really pay Rodgers right now. So I think in hindsight, what they did in the draft and what they're going to do in terms of not signing some of these guys back is going to be the right decision. I just think that the Packers had too many holes. Last year, they couldn't stop the run. And this year, they had very minimal holes. I think they got better in the run, especially in the playoffs. But they didn't have that second playmaker. And I guess that's a good argument, but they could have beat the Bucs. The one interception Rodgers threw, it was holding, and the refs didn't call it, which is why at the end of the game when they called holding on Kevin King,
flopped.
it was such a questionable call because, yes, it was a penalty, but they haven't been calling that all game. The Packers were this close to going to the Super Bowl with no second playmaker. But in reality, I think Allen Lazard stepped into that role really good this past season. I think he was great for them.
Yeah, it's just the optics of it. You know, I agree with a lot of the points you make on playing the long game, and they're playing the long game wisely with the situation they've put themselves in. But it's just tough when you get to the conference championship and you fall just that bit short, and you think about what you could have made out of that pick rather than taking Jordan Love when you do have Rodgers. But obviously only time will tell what kind of pick it is. If Jordan Love comes in and lives up to that potential, then they'll look like geniuses because they found their predecessor and they took themselves from, rather than being a Super Bowl contender and then going into a total disaster rebuild, now you have a guy that you could lean on moving forward here. So obviously the future will determine what that pick ends up looking like, but it's just tough to swallow when you're that close, and who knows how much a receiver like a T. Higgins went only a couple picks after, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So, if they have T. Higgins lined up across from Devontae Adams, it helps with that firepower. But anybody could play that hypothetical game.
I mean, for me, I think that this situation, Aaron Rodgers' situation with the Packers, is much different than other situations. I'm more so comparing it to Tom Brady's situation with the Patriots. Brady lasted that long with the Patriots because he took pay cuts. Aaron Rodgers is not taking any pay cuts. And no quarterback, if, that's not Brady, they're not taking any pay cuts. Mahomes didn't take a pay cut. Deshaun Watson didn't take a pay cut. Brady's the only one that did it. And in the end, he left because he was upset with the weapons that they surrounded Brady with. He didn't have a Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
He had a Julian Edelman. His last year, he was working with N'Keal Harry, Jacoby Myers, Philip Dorsett.
We see how they did this year without him.
And now with Rodgers, you can say he doesn't have much weapons, but the offensive line is still one of the top in the league. Aaron Jones is a really good running back. Devontae Adams is arguably the best receiver in the game. Allen Lazard's emerged, and Robert Tonyan was a Pro Bowl caliber tight end this season. So he did have the weapons. I think more so this game, it just came down to a lot of the little things. I mean, Tom Brady turned over the ball 3 times. And on each of those interceptions that Jaire Alexander got in the second half, they did not capitalize on not one of them. Yeah. They kept getting stopped. So in the last possession of the game, yes, I understand Matt LaFleur's play calling in that last possession of the game. I think he should have went for it, but I understand the thinking of kicking the field goal, because if you kick the field goal and you get a stop, you just need a touchdown and you win the game versus needing a touchdown, converting the two-point conversion and just tying the game.
When you look at the game, like you mentioned, it's a bunch of little things that all added up. Obviously, the Scotty Miller touchdown before the half was a spine breaker. The fact that they even came back from that was impressive, because most teams, that would have been the nail in the coffin. They would have packed it in, and the season would have been over. And then, St. Brown dropping the 2-point conversion obviously hurts you, because it's a totally different ballgame if you have those extra 2 points on the board. The missed holding call on the interception. So I believe they had 2 lost fumbles. It's a bunch of different things that you could chalk it up to. But if I'm LaFleur, the way I'm looking at it at the end, I would rather live and die with Aaron Rodgers making a play on that 4th down than live and die with my defense getting a stop or not. And even if you don't get it there, he said that his thought process was you have the 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, essentially giving you 4 timeouts. You get that. Even if the Buccaneers get the stop, you have your defense on the 8-yard line to make a stop. You still have your 3 timeouts. You still have the 2-minute warning. The only difference is it's an 8-point game. It's still a 1-touchdown game, though. So,
but then inevitably, that's still relying on your defense to get stopped.
I just personally, I would trust Aaron Rodgers over. There are not many defenses in the league I would trust over Aaron Rodgers to make a play there. You got to ride with your guy in that situation.
That Bucs defense started rolling, though.
Yeah, no doubt.
So Aaron Rodgers has the best estimated points added by a QB in playoff history. He's above Tom Brady. Tom Brady's second on that list. And this season,
third.
I don't know. And this season, Aaron Rodgers threw for 4,299 yards, 48 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. We'll see what his future is with the Packers, but we all have agreed here that we think he'll be on the Packers next season, no doubt about it.
At least next season, I'm pretty confident.
100%.